Hi, my name is Ormie King, and welcome to Talkin Sports. I brought you a great guest today. His name is Thomas John T.J. Gamba, and he's been in prison for the last 25 years, and they've let him out today so he can be with us. So, welcome, T.J.
Thank you, Ormie.
Yep, thank you.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks
Yeah.
for the segue.
We'd like to walk you through your life a little bit. Maybe you'd want to start by telling us your family and who they are.
Yes, sir. With that introduction, maybe by my next walk or run, I'll be getting pulled over and taken back to prison. But,
We hope not.
Thanks, thanks. My family, and a little bit about myself. I was born here in Auburn, New York on November 10th of 1965 at Mercy Hospital here in Auburn. I'm not positive what they called it back then, but that's what I recall.
You're a babe in the woods then. So.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, sir. My parents always told me I would remember my birthday as I got a little bit older, as historically speaking, on that day, in Niagara Falls, they were changing over the power source and how they distributed it, as I seen it on the History Channel, and that's when they had the blackout on the East Coast.
Oh, that was the day you were born?
That was the day I was born.
That's something. You caused it? Is
I
that why you're in jail?
I was born on auxiliary power.
That's funny. Holy.
So we brought a new terminology in 1965 to cordless power.
Well, I guess you did.
So, but that's when I was born. And
Makes it easy to remember.
I was raised here in Auburn my entire life, and have settled here since.
Oh, great.
And
Where did you live mostly when you first started? So?
I grew up on Lake Avenue.
Oh, okay.
41 at the time before the 911 changes. I'm not even sure what the number is now, but it's up in the Silver Street section off of Lake Ave, and great neighborhood.
Bernie Wallace, right?
Yeah, Bernie Wallace.
Oh, great. That's
the
great.
Kudlas and the Dones were next door. The guys, the Gleasons, the Quills,
Oh,
a whole bunch of people. Napoli down the street.
Wow, you got an all-star team right there.
Yeah,
for crying out loud.
Yeah, was lucky, you know.
Did you have a ball field in that area or anything where you could play?
I was a playground kid,
right.
As many people were of that era, and
Where'd
Seward
you
School,
go?
the original Seward School.
Oh, Seward School. Okay.
Which
Yeah.
I attended for 1 year. And we went around to those areas and in backyards. Bernie Wallace's backyard was a mainstay.
Oh, is that right?
To the point where we used to sing the national anthem and line the field with whoever's flour we could steal from the kitchen cupboards.
You would sing the national anthem before your games?
Anthem.
I'd like to hear a version of that.
No, not from
Would you mind singing it today? Come on, T.
Yes, I would mind. I didn't do the singing, but we did it anyhow. Bernie reminds me of that once in a while when we kid around.
He's a great guy.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, great guy. Yeah.
They put up with a lot. They had good neighbors.
Oh, I can imagine.
Angels we were not, but pretty good kids.
That's a motley crew that you just gave me there.
Yep.
So,
The Atkins and the Bogarts down in Vandenbosch.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Freddie Bogart,
Yep.
prison guard.
Yep.
Terrific guy.
Mr. Pelton and his family are up there.
Yep.
Salmon's, Quills I mentioned.
Yep. That's a great neighborhood.
Momo Savage down in the corner across the street from Tommy Napoli's family, and I was lucky to have the neighborhood and blessed. And when we moved, I think I was about heading into high school, 8th grade time, 79-ish, 80-ish, to Richardson Ave, so it was basically the same neighborhood.
Right.
Wyfield neighborhood, and
Oh, great.
we spent a lot of
Spent a lot of time at the Wyfield?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Great place to grow up, wasn't it?
No question. The
Amazing.
proving grounds.
Oh, it was a proving grounds. You had to pay your dues to play sometimes.
No
but it was a
question.
great place to be. But
No question. And it had the truth to be told there was left on the proving grounds, and
that's true.
And you got a lot of character. The rules were there. The older kids always saw the younger kids through, and it was a good hand-me-down situation for what I thought was a pretty good, athletically speaking. See, we're a sport talk show here mostly. Athletically speaking, it was a great area to where those qualities and traits, I think, eminently proved themselves as we all got a little bit older. We did well in our sports in that era and the eras before, and I think that was some of the reason and the tribute goes to those
I'm sure that
playgrounds.
helps shape your life, I'm sure, right?
You came up
Sports-wise,
through
so,
that
yeah.
era, your group, and you know it was you had to win to stay on the field to play.
That's true.
And when you lost,
You'd be there all day
waited-
long if you did.
You waited your turn to play again, and
Yeah.
there was some order of the disorder, but it was
Called
great.
paying your dues, right?
It was great,
Yeah.
and I was blessed to have it, and the competitive nature of our neighborhood, and those friends are still my friends, and there's that part of it also. Probably more importantly, the characteristics of
That's
growing
wonderful.
up and the qualities that
Right.
were made and the friends that you made. And
Who gave you the nickname TJ?
I was from birth.
From birth?
I'm not sure if it was mom or dad, but
Okay, but
I
it
was.
was right
I was
within the
from birth.
family then, okay.
Yeah, my good fortune started at birth, Ormie, you know, to be born to John and Helene Gamba.
Good people,
No
right?
question. The
Yeah.
best.
Good
The
people.
best.
What'd they do in life?
See, my parents, they came from Pennsylvania, both of them. My dad came from via Williamsport.
Uh-huh.
Mom came from, oh boy, you're gonna put me on the spot here.
Oh, no, that's no problem. You can't make any mistakes on this
No,
program.
no. She came from Jerry McNamara's hometown.
Oh, Scranton, was it
Scranton,
Scranton,
yeah,
PA?
there you go, kicked me over.
Wow.
Yep, she came from Scranton, and my dad, he worked quite a number of different jobs. I think the button shop. My grandfather had Van's Bakery. He worked
Right.
in the bakery. Later on, he got out of the bakery business, went into the furniture store business. So my dad came up through. That's how we got into the floor covering business.
Didn't your grandpa have the Stroman's bread or something at one
in
time? I think?
Pennsylvania, he worked for Stroman's.
Oh, okay.
And he was worked for a division of the Stroman Bread Company and Bakery down that way, and that's how he was in the bakery business. Came
Okay.
up here, relocated, and bought into.
But he had the
started
place
Vans.
before Van Fleck, or he had it before
He
that?
worked for Stroman's,
Oh, okay, yeah.
the company, and
Right.
worked. I'm not somewhere down in Williamsport,
Right.
and they bought it.
Up here?
Van's Bakery,
Oh,
created
terrific,
Van's
right.
Bakery, and I think I want to say, without making a mistake here, it was from the Rose family, the Roses.
The
I'm not
Roses,
sure if
okay.
it's the same bakery family, but
Okay.
that was as explained to me, and much as I can remember of it,
Wow.
how that came about.
Well, you mentioned Van's Bakery. My wife lived about 3 doorways away from there when I married her, but every Sunday we would go down to Van's Bakery and load up with goodies to bring back to the mom's house, so brings back a lot of memories. So.
Yeah, it's quite
Excuse
an
me.
operation from what I understood of it, and
Yeah.
I was a little
yeah.
too young, and that was gone out of their ownership before I was even
Yeah.
thought. So
Yep.
the furniture store I recall fondly and vividly.
Did you work there? Or?
No, sir.
No.
No. I terrorized it a little
You
bit.
terrorized
Don't jump on the furniture.
No.
Those kinds of comments, but
Yeah.
enjoyed it. It was great. It was a family-run business, and
Oh, great.
you know we kind of fit the bill
Right.
for what we were all about
Right.
here in the family side of things. My mom was a hairdresser.
Oh,
Ironically, my mom's mom, my grandmother Tucker,
Mhm.
she worked at Van's Bakery before my parents even
Oh, no
worked there.
kidding.
There's a little historical side note to
now, didn't your mom have that little store across from Sherwood Playground? I think she did, didn't she?
Bradford.
Or Bradford, I'm sorry, not
her-
Sherwood,
her-
Bradford, right.
Her
Yeah,
shop was right across
yeah.
from
It's
Bradford.
still there today, in fact.
is.
Somebody's still operating
It
it.
is.
Yeah, yeah.
And when I went to what was then Blessed Trinity,
Okay,
I
you went to
walked right past
BT.
there every day.
You terrorized BT too then, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. You didn't get much chance to terrorize anything
Right,
in BT.
not
back
with
in
Nick
those days.
Diego, no way.
Not with Nick
You wouldn't let
Diego
you.
or some of the teachers I had. Nuns ran the show.
Oh, that's
The
great.
dogs did not run the kennel, Ormie.
I understand. Now,
it was good.
how about your siblings?
I have 3 older sisters.
Okay.
Roseanne Stott, still in Auburn.
Okay.
Kathy Yanch,
Right.
still in Auburn. And my sister Tricia.
Right.
She passed away tragically in 1986 in an automobile accident.
I'm
We
awful
lost
sorry.
her.
That's,
Yeah,
that's a
yes, sir.
toughie.
Yeah, it is a tough one.
How old was she when she
She was 26.
Oh,
happened
wow.
down in Port St. Lucie.
Jeez,
And
far too young.
She had 1 daughter, yep.
That's a shame. That's,
And, you know, it's a tough break in life.
oh,
but
it sure is.
Our family is strong and well bonded, and
Good.
to this day it's a sad moment in
Right.
my heart. And
Right.
Certainly my moms and dads and my sisters and everybody associated with our family, but
Right.
we make the best of it and try to support each other through it, and
Okay.
we miss her dearly.
Oh.
We miss her dearly.
Now, when you were a kid, did you play like Little League ball and
Sure
stuff
did.
like that? Did you
Sure did.
fill us in on that?
Yes, sir. I started off with the normal route of Pony League and CYO basketball, and went up through Little League and through high school for the basketball. Those were the two sports that I participated in. Did a little bowling.
Okay.
My dad was a bowler, so I enjoyed bowling.
Good.
Never stuck with it. Kind of
Right.
wish I did a little bit. I like the sport.
As you get older, you'd appreciate bowling.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
If you can get the arm
Still
up
do-
high enough
right,
to do
true.
it. But I played Pony League for the Elks Club.
Who was your coach?
Started off with Dick Nolan and Pete Kirst.
Oh,
Two good ones to
Two-
start
two-
off
two
with.
fine
As I look
guys, yeah.
back
Yeah, that's great.
in the coaching pedigree that I had,
right,
played for, two very good,
right.
disciplined, compassionate, had all the good characteristics that you would like in a teacher.
Right.
Taught, dressed appropriately, show up on time, all those kinds of good things that you would like.
Are some of
out
those
your
traits
students.
that you learned there, or
No
is that
question.
something you brought into coaching when you
Oh,
started
yeah,
coaching?
no
Yeah.
question.
Oh, great.
I had a lot of coaches that, from
Right.
that era, obviously your era, that
Right,
we were talking about live field and the softball situation earlier prior to
right.
the show starting here, and that was one of the things. Pete Kirst wanted you to look the part and play the part, and
Yeah.
Mr. Nolan
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
taught the game well,
Yep.
fundamentally, and that was eminent in how I approached the game, and a lot of the teammates that I had.
We talked earlier about we both shared a coach. Nick Diego was a
Oh yeah.
terrific gentleman, and he's been honored several times. He's passed on, but tell us a little bit about Nick, if you will.
Nick Diego, huge impact on my athletic portion of my life, as I kept in touch with Nick throughout the years.
Right.
He was had standards.
Right.
He was a challenging coach.
Yeah.
But he met you at the wall to, as far as teaching goes. He was disciplined, as all my teammates can attest to.
Yes, he was.
But he was a family man, and he preached that
Yeah.
our team was a family, and to take care of one another, and to look out for one another, and to treat each other and others with respect, and all those preachings, as he called them,
Right.
were hovering around those topics, and to give your best effort. And his demands were met with that kind of compassion
Right.
and encouragement. And
Good family.
he was a good coach, and at times when you didn't meet those demands, he let you know that you weren't meeting his standard of
Right.
demand. And all my teammates would,
Right.
I would, I'm not trying to speak for them, but I think they would agree with me.
I'm sure they would.
But he was a great man, great family man. Sunday was spaghetti and meatball and pasta day.
Yep.
As I grew older and got through high
12
school.
Paul Street, I think it was,
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken.
Paul
Yeah.
Street, and he had the barber chair set up out in back. He cut the whole neighborhood's hair.
Yeah.
The Shalaces were next door.
It-
And as I got a little bit older, I'd always stop over and still stay in touch with Coach. And
Oh, good.
I called it, that was my humbling.
Right.
You got to come over for pasta, and he kind of spoke in that deep voice, and he meant it, and
Yeah,
he's a lovely man.
and he did it for everybody. Yeah,
He
it
was a
amazing.
giving man. He
Yeah.
gave, and he was a large impact on not only the athletic side of it, but I had the pleasure of going to he asked me to help him coach a team,
Right.
and I stuck with that team for him while I was playing baseball in the minor leagues for
Right.
the 3.5 years that I played.
Right.
So what an experience. I learned more the second time with Nick and watching him operate than I did as a player. There's no
Right.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, no question. It was an honor, a true honor.
Before you guys came, TJ was around the other side, and he was looking at some old scorebooks. Well, the old scorebooks were Nick never threw anything out, and he has everybody's batting average in there, what game they played, and everything else. And he said he couldn't believe this. But what happened was his son Tom, when Nick passed on, he gave me literally 3 tubs full of everything that Nick ever had as far as sports, and they're within this room right here. And I just think that's important to let people know that. But if you're ever looking to see if you want to see if you're in the scorebooks or anything, we have them and all the photos. And I thank the Diego family for donating it to us. So thank you.
Yeah, that's a great gift.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
He, another side note, when we played, he took cardboard placards, maybe out of the back of a scorebook or a writing tablet, if you will, and he hand drew every play and defensive set and gave it to each one of the players on the team. So you talk about the
He
time
was into
dedication.
it.
There was no computer where you could
Yep.
look that up, make photocopies.
Right.
He was into it, and he met his demand, his
Yeah.
own demand.
Yeah, he did.
And it was great, and
Absolutely.
I love him for it.
Absolutely. Good guy.
I'd like to mention a couple other coaches that I played
You
for.
go right ahead.
Try not to leave anybody out here. I played not only for Pete Kirsten, Dick Nolan, and Pete had a great impact on my baseball side of things, fundamentally speaking. I was lucky to get
Right.
Pete and Mr. Nolan, Coach Nolan, at the beginning of my baseball days. They set some good habits for us all.
That's
Bud
great.
Smith and Ron Eddy, Tony Labisco. There's some legends
You
there.
got an all-star lineup
Just
right
to
there.
help out.
You got
a
an
little bit,
all-star
come
lineup
through.
right there. Absolutely.
Fritz Allen took over for a little bit
Right.
in Little League years.
That's good.
With Jeff, your son,
My son,
a
Jeff.
good friend of mine,
Well,
and a teammate. And
you shouldn't have told me that, because I got to tell you, I got to pay you a tribute, because my son,
Okay.
my son heard I was doing this, and I promised him I would do it for him. But he wrote a little tribute to you, and I just want to read it to you if you don't mind. But it says,
Sure.
you were a coach's dream, and you gave me 3 reasons why. He said TJ was extremely versatile. He could play any position on the field, and he could play all of them well, but the thing was, he played them great, not just well. TJ was clearly the star of any team he ever played on, but he never carried himself that way. Extremely humble and unselfish, the definition of a team player. And to mention 2 other gentlemen in this conversation, that being Billy Smith and John Albarisi. TJ, Billy, and John had that rare ability to inspire mediocre athletes such as myself and others play better than what our abilities really had afforded us. They did this simply by the way they carried themselves on the field and the amount of heart that they played the game with. All you had to do was watch them giving it their all in practice on a game, and you couldn't help but be inspired by their true leadership qualities. So,
Wow.
yeah. So he just
Very
wanted to be
nice.
sure I said
Too
that to
nice.
you, so I said I will. So.
Well, good man there.
Well, he's the head of your fan club, let me tell you.
Sure.
So yeah.
Well, the feelings are mutual. He was a lot of fun. A good friend.
Good.
Still is, and he's a good man. You should be proud of him.
Thank you.
And all your children.
Well, I am,
whom I
absolutely.
know, and grandchildren.
And grandchildren, yeah, absolutely. They're
Got a lot
moving
to
on.
be proud of there.
That
Well,
means I'm
that's-
getting older, you know.
Yeah, same here. I don't feel a day over 80 today.
Right.
No, but that's great. Yeah, I'll tell you, going off of that a little bit, I was lucky to have friends like Jeff and teammates, which ironically my friends and teammates are the same people.
Right.
Funny enough how that happens in
Yeah.
this,
And
in this
it
whole
is.
thing.
Yeah.
Talking about characteristic and,
It
and the moral
absolutely
values that you come across. But
It's amazing.
I probably cherish my friendships more than just about anything that,
Right.
that happened, with all this
That's a
stuff
good
that
thing
I've
to
been blessed
cherish.
with, no question
It's a
about
good
it.
thing to cherish.
My
Absolutely.
parents were great supporters of anything I did athletically, and they enjoyed it and often speak about the friends
Right.
that they've met along the way and the people that we've all met, and really cherish those relationships. And that's, when it boils down to it, and you add everything up in the columns and you draw the line and you do your addition and subtraction in life, and I think that's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
How it's great to hear those words, and it's humbling, it's emotional for me, but in all, at the end of the day, it's your friends and your family and your community,
Yep.
of which you do great things, and I appreciate everything that you do, sir.
Oh, thank you very much.
That's great.
That's nice.
It's great, and my best friends are my teammates that I had when I was a little kid. Scott Stevens, John Cool,
Oh, yeah.
Billy Smith,
Wow.
Billy Tarvey, Pat Fernia, the guys that I stay with, Eddie Charles, these guys that I stay in touch with
All local
to
stars.
this day
So, yeah.
are all the guys that I played with, and we went through the battles and the sacrifices, the ups and the downs. And baseball's a funny game,
Right.
the sport that I love
Right.
probably the most.
Right.
It's a game of failure, and
Right.
you have to learn to deal with failure to have success. And
Truth in that.
ironically, that is the microcosm of life in a lot of different ways. There's a lot of similarities there,
Yeah.
and I've been blessed to have a lot of support with the friends and the teammates that I had. It made it a lot easier to
Go down the
take
path.
Nick Diego's practice with a bunch of guys that I had,
Right.
the Spinos, the Jeff McCarthy,
Yeah.
my good friend
We
Jeff
just
McCarthy.
lost Jeff.
We just lost
He's a tough
Jeff,
guy.
and my
Awful good
condolences.
guy. Awful
my
good
condolences to the McCarthy family
Yep.
and all our friends that, you know, we love Jeff, and
He's a
one
terrific
of the
guy.
greatest salt-of-the-earth kind of guys that you ever, nothing ever changed. He always smiling.
Yeah.
Good, better, indifferent. That man was always smiling, and miss him dearly.
All right. What year did you also played basketball for Auburn, right?
Yes, sir.
Who was coaching your basketball team?
Let's see, I played for Coach Gremley, Ed Gremley,
Oh, okay, yeah.
who I also played baseball for at the JV level, Tom Navarro and Greg Bahuniak.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Going looking back a little bit.
And after that, you went on to Ithaca College? And
Yeah, I played baseball through high school here for Joe Mushak
All right,
and Coach Gremley.
all right.
And again, you know, getting back to the high
You
school.
had great success with the baseball team,
Well,
right? I mean,
there again, I mean, we had a vein of athletes that inspired,
Right.
you know, that helped inspire me, and
You got a very good
you
team.
know, helped my passion, you know, develop a little bit.
Right.
We had some guys that ended up playing professionally off of our high school team, you know,
Oh, that's
later on down the road. In my 4 years of high school, 2 of them were at the varsity level. You had Chris Lombardozzi, who
Oh,
played
yeah.
professional baseball.
Yes,
Comes from
he
a
did.
very
didn't he
great
end up in
family.
the World Series? I thought he did.
His brother did.
His brother did,
played
okay,
for the
yeah.
Twins.
Right, yeah.
He's got a nephew in the big leagues right now with the Baltimore Orioles.
Wow. Well, you're doing good then.
He went on and played in the minor leagues, in which we played against one another
Oh,
in the Midwest
that's
League.
terrific.
Great photo. One of the photos I cherish
That's
greatly
terrific.
is with Chris Lombardozzi. He was with the Cedar Rapid Reds at the time. I was in Waterloo with the Indian organization. Bobby Capisser, Margot Piano, and just a slew
Like
of
you
other
said,
guys
you
that
did.
went on to play at the collegiate level and had great careers, and better yet, have come back to our community or wherever they've
Right.
gone, have achieved a lot of success with their families.
That's
And
wonderful.
like I said, that's the important thing, I think, at the end of the day.
Right.
All these things are great.
Yeah. Now,
You
when
know,
you
but-
played,
Go ahead.
when you played for Ithaca, didn't you end up becoming a little All-American?
I made All-American my 3rd year
Yeah.
there. That was the year I signed.
Your coach then, he was a
Coach-
terrific guy too.
Oh,
wasn't
God, yes.
he? Was it George?
George Valseni.
George Wilson. He's a terrific guy. Yeah.
Probably the largest impact on my life from a coaching standpoint.
It was George.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, hands down.
He's a
Nick was
terrific
great.
athlete himself. But,
Nick had a huge impact, and you know, a lot of similarities between the two guys.
right.
At that time in my life, when you're going through, you know, your transition, the threshold into adulthood, he was a large impact on not only myself but a lot of guys down through the years. And ironically, I had a chance to go back and coach with him also.
Well,
The
it had to
2
be a
greatest
great feeling,
coaches
you know?
I've ever had.
It had to be a great feeling.
Yeah.
Well, who were you coaching then when you went back home?
I went back to Ithaca in 2002. I started there.
Oh, no
2002,
kidding. Yeah.
2003 season.
Oh,
I was there for 5 years, 4 seasons.
Wow.
And then I took the high school job here. But George, Coach Fazio, Frank Fazio, he's
Right.
a Watertown native, played at Ithaca. The impact on my athletic life was enormous, immeasurable,
Right.
but on life itself, to this day, it continues. I spoke with George yesterday,
Right.
Coach.
Oh, that's
Spoke
wonderful.
with Coach yesterday.
Oh, that's
We
wonderful.
stay in touch, and
Now, you ended up
great experience there. Great
from there.
experience.
Didn't you end up with the Cleveland Indians
Yep.
chain? I think we have a picture of him back
Yep.
here when he played
Yep.
with the Cleveland Indian chain. And so
Lucky
that's
enough.
quite an accomplishment.
Lucky enough.
I loved your mother's comment. I did an article on you, but she made the comment that she knew you were going to be good because when you were a little boy, if you didn't have a baseball, you just wound up some paper wads and put duct tape around them and throw them off the roof and wait for it to come down, and then you'd keep catching. She said you do that all day long.
Yeah.
This was the night, I think, that you played the first time in Auburn, I think.
Yeah,
right.
that came
Something
from an
like that.
article when I was with Batavia my
Right.
first year in 1986. I had signed professionally out of Ithaca, and I was in the NYP League, and it was, boy, how lucky can you get to come home to your hometown and play in the
Must have been a
field
great
that
feeling, wasn't it?
you played your high school baseball and
Right.
Babe Ruth baseball on, you know, on that field, and it was a great
You
feeling.
went a little shaky then, I believe.
I was, I felt I had to live up to
Who wouldn't
something.
be?
I'm not sure what it
Who
was at
wouldn't
that
be?
point, but my friends were all there, my family was there, and
great.
yeah, they interviewed my mom, and that story originates from my dad's work truck, you know, and he carried duct tape on it, and I would
Oh,
take
okay.
paper and
Make your own
make a little
baseballs.
ball, and we had a little detached garage on Lake Ave in a big wide open yard with our neighbor's yard adjacent to that.
Right.
And I'd throw the tape up onto the roof, and back in those days they had bamboo poles in the middle of the carpet rolls that my dad
Oh,
had
yeah,
on the truck or in the garage, and I would take the saw and cut off a little bat.
Okay.
And it was, you know, it wasn't a bat, it was a, you know, a thin
You were
thing.
trying to run Louisville Slugger right out
Out
of
of
business,
business.
is what you were trying
But
to
they
do.
were
yeah,
they were
sure.
bamboo poles, yeah. we were taking little, you kind of makes whatever you got, you
Back
made
then
it happen.
you had to do
sure.
that, you know? Yeah.
But funny enough, I think I helped.
Excuse me, but
Go
back
ahead.
then, were any of your gloves shaped like this?
No, sir.
They weren't
No.
quite shaped like, I didn't think so.
We used them for bases.
Okay, I didn't think they were.
We used them for bases, Ormie.
Okay.
They were flat. That's back when you used to leave the glove on the field in between innings,
Yeah, you're right.
right?
You could then.
Right.
Then he started to disappear. You go out to the field and where's your glove? It's gone.
I caught that on Ken Burns' the baseball history of baseball
Oh, did
show.
you?
Yeah.
He has a
I
great
was kind of
show.
surprised I didn't see you in that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm kidding.
I'm old enough. Believe me, I'm
I'm
old
kidding.
enough. Without
I
a
couldn't
doubt.
let you get by without one. But yeah, that's where that originated from. And after my dad had realized what I was doing, I don't think he ever spoke to me another word about taking his duct tape. I think probably that's why there was 2 or 3 rolls of duct tape on the truck. You know, I got to thank him for
You
that.
must have made a lot of baseballs over the years. So.
I made a lot of them, and I'd make probably 10 or 12 of them, hit them, and I'd chase them for, you know, hours, which he attributes to, you know, some of the skill level that you obtain from that, you know, the hand-eye coordination, and he was correct.
Plus,
And
you
he
had the
kept
drive
encouraging
that
me.
you wanted to do it too. I think. You know,
Well, yeah.
obviously, or you wouldn't do it. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
That came from the neighborhood thing, and
Sure.
it was competitive in our neighborhood, and lucky enough to come across the coaches, Pete,
Yeah.
and, you know, great coach, great. I attribute a lot to Pete Kierst's impact on the fundamental part of my game, and he was a great guy. He treated me well,
Yeah.
but that kept you, you know, your passion was driven a little bit because you
Right.
wanted to do well, and then the other part of that was, you know,
Yeah.
my parents enjoyed it and encouraged
Very
me to be involved, and I saw some of the positive effects it had on our lives, and
Right.
at a young age, I think I realized that, and that was one of the driving forces
Right.
that kept me going, you know, to do well, you know,
Sure.
internally, intrinsically, probably more so than internally. That was a good feeling.
Right.
I enjoyed, you know, making them feel that way, or whatever that description is. I'm
Right.
probably a little, you know, for loss of words on it, but that was motivating to me, and I had, you know,
That's great.
great teammates that, you know, your son, it was fun to be around them.
He probably gave you a hard time knowing him.
No, we
No,
had
he
fun.
didn't.
No, I mean, that's part of the deal. Everybody gives everybody a
Well,
hard time.
Give
That's
and
part of
take.
it. But that's
You
the
gotta
that's
give
the
and take in sports.
that's the
without-
love.
Yeah.
That's the love that you
of the
share.
game.
You know, that you share not only that for
Speaking
each
of
other.
love, we got to get you off of sports for just a minute.
Yes,
You
sir.
better bring in your wife and
No
family
doubt.
to this, without a doubt, because if you forget them,
Team
I'm
Gamba.
in deep doo-doo, I'll tell you.
Team
So,
Gamba. Lori,
Okay.
we married in 1987.
Yeah. Okay.
Went
What was
through high
Lori's
school.
last name? Was it-
Kester.
Kester,
Lori
okay.
Kester, her
Uh-huh.
maiden name. We married in 1987. Went to high school, through high school with her, known her
Mhm.
for quite some time, and we were in the same circle of friends, and we
Oh,
connected
terrific. That's
during
great.
college, and it's been a beautiful thing. You know?
What's she doing like?
She's a teacher over
She's a
in
teacher. Where's
Southern
she teaching?
Cuba.
Southern Cuba?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good for her.
Yep.
That's great.
She has
She
a
like
passion.
it?
Yes, she has a passion for her job.
Oh, that's good.
Tough trade to be in nowadays,
Oh,
but
very tough, yeah.
she handles it well, and she makes a great effort,
Okay,
in which I feel at home
right.
sometimes in a good way.
No, that,
You know,
that
we
is a
talk
good
about
thing,
it.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, my job, I'm in the education business myself inside Auburn Correctional Facility,
Right.
in which you have to have the same drive and passion for it to you know, pass on to do well.
You do.
And you know, we trade our stories a little bit, and it's kind of they're on different ends of the spectrum, so to speak. But she does a great job, and she's a great lady, and she's a great mother, and she's a great partner. And we married young, and
Yeah. How old were you when you got married?
I was 20.
20. I beat you by 1 year. I was
Yes,
19.
sir.
There we
Good
go.
job, and
We
you're
saw
still
it
with
alike,
her.
right?
Well, I'm glad to, you know.
I was looking for a good cook right away, and my wife was a terrific cook.
That's right. That's right, and as is mine. And she's been great. And like I said, we married young, and
Right.
you get through the.
How many children do you have?
We have 3.
3.
3. We have Ashley Grace. She's in
Okay.
Rochester. She's a physical therapist.
Oh, good.
Ithaca College grad. Abigail Rose is down
Okay.
in Charlotte now. She just
Charlotte.
recently relocated,
Great.
and she's trying to finish up here at Oswego State. 1 course to go, and we're encouraging her like heck to get through it and
Right.
get after it afterwards. And they're,
For her.
both of them are doing well. And then there's Michael John.
Michael Jan.
Yes.
Is he an athlete like his dad?
Yeah, he went through
Yeah.
high school and played in all
Oh, great.
sports. He's currently here at CCC.
Oh, terrific.
He's going to finish up
Yeah.
here. And
Does he like it?
yes, sir.
That's
Yep.
good.
Good student. Encourage him to
Good for
finish
him.
here and move on, and which that's in his plans that he's
That's
indicated to us, and hopefully that comes to fruition.
That's great.
They're all beautiful kids. I'm proud of them and blessed to have them,
Yes.
and they've all turned out to be nice young adults
Oh, great.
on a great path. And it's been a pleasure to watch them grow, and
Great.
as they get older here, and you know the worries get a little bit never go away, I guess.
Oh,
you
I
know,
guess they don't.
worrisome. They get a little bit, you know,
all
bigger.
part of
The picture
growing
gets a little bit bigger, and it is part of growing up. But it's been enjoyable. Large and due part to Lori. She was a great mother. She stayed home with the kids when they were younger, which in this day and age is almost somewhat rare.
Yeah, that is.
And
yeah.
you know, that was a big impact on how come they're pretty good students academically, and probably moreover, and
Yep.
they're good people.
Yep.
That's the bottom line.
Don't get any better than that.
No,
Don't
no,
get any better
you're
than
right,
that.
Orm. You're right.
We all have funny moments. Can you, any you guys, you can share with us that you can be
Oh.
told?
Well, probably most
Some
of them
can't
can
be
be. Well, let me think. I grew up on Lake Ave, and Angels we were not, and we liked them during the winter, which we get a lot of snow, and
Right.
Lake Ave was busy with traffic, so
Right.
moving objects were fun to throw snowballs at.
No, you would throw a snowball at you.
So, you know, we did, have to admit.
Was that part of your baseball training, was to get the arm in shape?
get the arm in
Yeah,
shape.
well, it makes sense.
So we're on Lake Ave, and when the snowbanks got plowed up high enough, we'd dig some tunnels, and we'd play and do our thing. And
Right.
you know, I can't even remember the age that we were at, probably 10, 11,
Right.
mischievous age. So my father had a police scanner, and so we look out, and here comes my father down the street. He only had his boots on. He didn't have a jacket on. T, what are you guys doing? Well, we're not doing nothing. You know, it was, well, whatever nothing you're doing, the police are on their way, so you better make sure you're telling them you're not throwing snowballs at the cars and doing nothing. So
All foot, it's
we-
a grab wood.
we retreated to our little caverns that we were building in the snowbanks, and we didn't throw any snowballs for the rest of that day.
You're the
But,
first person I ever knew that ever did that. I can't believe that. Is that why you're in prison now?
That's why I'm in prison now. I always say that, you know, I'm there for 8 hours a day, and the other 16 I'm fortunate enough for them
Right.
to furlough me and let me go home.
Let you go home.
But
Thank goodness for
yeah,
that.
I've been into prison for 25 years, or with the system
That's
for
a-
25 years now.
It's a long time.
Work with your daughter.
My daughter, yeah.
Yep.
She
I'm a
she
good
likes
one.
it, but there are days where, you know,
Sure,
you
it's
don't like
not.
it. You know, it's like every
Nothing's
time.
easy. Nothing's
easy,
perfect
yeah.
or easy.
Yeah.
And that falls in that category with, I think, a lot of other things. And
Yeah.
you know, I'm happy with my job, and I try to do the best that I can and give that best effort. Some of those preachings that I learned, you know, along the way from some of the teachers and coaches that I had, there's no question about it, that worked into the ethic that I had, and all my friends that I speak with. You know, often we try to approach it and talk about and reminisce about those situations there, and you know, that's a pretty good job for me, and
Yep.
I can't complain about it, and nor would I, and I just try to make the best of it and do the best I can and have an impact. You know, I think in the coaching and working life and those things, and one of the lessons, the great lessons that I learned from Coach Valiceni was to be happy, to want freedom, and to have peace of mind. You have to give those things.
Yes.
You have to be a giving person and give those traits and qualities, and that's you
That's
know,
a
I
good
thank
life lesson
I
right
thank him for that.
Yep.
And
It's a good life lesson.
again, you know, as I mentioned before, getting back to Coach Val a little bit, I had the opportunity to get back on the field with him.
Right.
I had a situation where I was promoted at work and gave me an opportunity to be able to get down to Ithaca, and I did that for almost 5 years, 4 seasons before I came home to coach. And
Wow.
getting in the dugout with him and learning, you know, some of those things that you just never seen as a player,
Right.
you know, as a coach, assisting him and watching his impact on people's lives in the office. The phone calls that he takes are undaunting, and he's a giving man, and
Right.
and he's great at his trade, and it was just a very influential impact on
Speaking
my
of
life.
giving, I don't want to interrupt him because he's
Go ahead.
modest and he wouldn't But this is a photo was taken over at Casey Park School, but this gentleman here, just all the values that he's talking about. He went to Casey Park to talk to the kids about it, and I thought it was very, very opportune. But that's a picture of the classroom there. But we need more people that talk to our kids,
Yeah,
especially with what he has to offer. So,
yeah, that was a great honor in retrospect. I went for a couple
Sure,
hours.
give you some tough questions too. The kids always do.
Yeah, I mean, I did some reading to the younger kids. That was probably the biggest challenge for me for the day.
Oh, I can imagine.
No question.
Those are not easy.
All kidding aside. But, you know, the Auburn Double Days were there, and, you know, you try to give a positive twist and give a little bit of a, you know, a speech of staying involved and giving your best effort.
Right.
And some of those qualities that we spoke about and that have been fortunately given to me, you know, in a hand-me-down situation. I didn't invent any of them.
Right.
I try to do the best that I can, and if I could have an impact and I was asked to do that, and if I could have an impact and help, you know, so be it. Then God bless. I hope somebody in the room listened, and
I'm sure they did.
I learned a little bit from it myself, and
Yep.
That's at the end of the day, it was a pretty good thing, and I hope it helped. And I like to do those things. And you know, when I came here to coach at Auburn High,
Right.
maybe we'll talk a little bit about that and segue into that.
Yep. Go ahead.
How about this? You know, that was a great honor.
How many years did you coach?
I coached here for 4 seasons.
4 seasons. Okay.
A little bit.
You
5 years, 4 seasons.
You had a lot of success with your coaching too.
I would thank you.
Yeah, you had a lot of
I
success.
tried.
No,
I
you
tried.
did. You did more than tried. Yeah.
Tried.
Yeah.
Tom Napoli
All right.
has a lot to do with that. I
Right.
can't let the situation go back with or go by without mentioning him. He's a
Terrific athlete.
great friend.
Yeah.
Grew up in the neighborhood. I gave you a photo.
Right.
Maybe
Yeah.
we'll put it up along the way.
Yeah, I
It's
think
a
we have
flashback.
it. We have that photo. Yeah.
Yeah, it was back in the pitch, hit, and run days. You know,
Right.
who would ever thought that was a foreshadow of letting 2 knuckleheads coach the baseball team here at Auburn High School?
Think about it.
Wow. But I'll tell you, it was a no-brainer when we got together, you know, and got the job. I asked Tom to come aboard, and
Right.
he didn't hesitate, and he didn't skip a step
Wow.
from the day we left. It was a tremendous honor and a value. One of the greatest things that ever happened to me personally
That's
was
great.
to be able to come back here
Yeah.
and give it our all, and which we did. We left it all out there, I think. And
Didn't you walk away with a state championship, or
no,
came in close?
we got a sectional championship out of it. We got into the state
Okay.
tournament, came up a little shy.
Right. Okay.
Kids did a great job. We were blessed with some great kids that had, you know,
Yeah.
don't make it sound like we did it all, but we
Right.
did our best to give
Right.
those kids, and they bought in, and they conducted themselves in a manner. The 4 years, all 4 teams did a great job, and they were good kids. Many of them have gone on to do some great things and starting to graduate and get in the working force,
That's
which
great.
puts me a little bit on the older side, but had some great ones come through. And as a whole, I always was taught to make sure that you go through the entire team and with your teachings and your attention. And the ones that buy in are going to buy in, and the ones that don't, you do your best with and leave it on good grounds if you can. And if not, we're not for everybody. And
Yep.
you know, that happened in my playing days, and you know, I
Sure.
never tried to disrespect anybody. And
Right.
you know, if I did and knew about it, I certainly was taught to apologize and make it right as it could be. So I really didn't have any negative moments from my coaching experience here. It's a great town. It's a great athletic town, as you all know.
What do you like
yourself.
best about Auburn? What'd you say? If you had to name a couple of things, what would you like
Well,
best?
it's a tight-knit community. It is a great sports town. It's
Right.
a great town to raise our children in.
Yep.
People know one another and really have intrinsic,
Right.
intuitive value to look out after one another. I mean, there's a lot of great things about Auburn.
I
you
don't
know.
have it at hand, but within that package, we have it was your quotes about when Auburn was selected, like in the top
Yeah.
small city in
Yes,
the
sir.
country for sports-wise. It was his quote that they put in the paper, and
Sure, I
I thought
remember.
it was an excellent quote. I don't remember exactly what
Well,
maybe you do. I don't remember what you said.
I think it was along the lines of our upbringing from the playgrounds and
Mhm.
some of the infusion of why it's a great sports town is because of the playgrounds and the coaches, you know,
Right.
Coach Dean, Coach Adams, these great coaches that we had that had impact
Right.
on all the men and the women. Coach
Right.
Lacey,
Yeah.
you know, some of the great
Oh,
women coaches that for the
Had big
girls.
impacts on
And, you know,
all of us.
should we not forget to mention, you know, the great female athletes that come through the town and the impact that they've had on everybody's lives. And I think that's one thing you can attribute to is those little neighborhood factors and factions that people had an opportunity to go play, and then the organized sport and youth sports in my day were strong and competitive. Yet you had to learn to lose. I didn't like losing. I'll be
No,
the first
I don't
one to
think
tell
anybody
you.
likes that.
And my parents, they'll tell you how much I really didn't like losing, and have some fun with it, you know. But in all seriousness, you have to learn how to, you know, to take that and move on in life. And you know, how you attribute our town being a great athletic town is those reasons. Coach Diego's, those people that had impact on our lives, and how competitive things were in a good way, because we're bringing that into, you know, the workforce, and hopefully these kids
Right.
take some of those characteristics that were passed down from you to
Right.
our generation, and our generation to their generation, and hopefully they put it to good use. And hopefully raising their own families, and why not come home?
Yeah.
Why not come home?
Right.
We can do it. This, you know,
Exactly.
economically speaking, you know, Auburn's been down. A lot of towns have been down that are in the same situation and size
Yep.
factor of Auburn. And you know, not to get into politics, but you know, if we can get through it, and have before. And this has economically been a strong town before, and you know,
Yep.
40s, 50s, and 60s, even probably prior to that, which you'd know more about. But there's some good people here.
No question.
No question about it. And I'm a proud member. I'm a
Yeah.
proud member. I try to do my best to
You
give
do
my
well.
little piece.
You do very well
And
for all of us.
hopefully
So,
we can have people follow in your footsteps, and people like you
Yeah.
that do some great
Thank you.
things. There's no question about it.
If you could change anything in our community right now, what would it be?
Well,
That's a tough question. I
it is a tough question.
Anything you could.
I would say it would be economically, because I think given the opportunity to earn a fair living in this town,
Mhm.
all the pieces are in place for this town to thrive. Not to say it isn't thriving, because you know, there are many, many good qualities and characteristics, but in the big picture,
Right.
if I could change something, I would say give everybody a fair opportunity to earn a fair living, and I
Right.
think some great things
Very
would
important.
continue to happen, and it would grow even larger.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say comparable to the past years, because you know, obviously this town did very well and thrived in the industrial
Yep.
era,
Yep.
historically speaking. I think that one day again we will, and if you don't think we won't, then we won't,
Yeah.
and that's where it's got to start.
You're
And I
exactly
don't
right.
mean
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
the politicians and those types of people. I think it comes from everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to pitch in and hopefully do the right thing, and take care of the things that we need to improve on, and take care of the things that we're good at and make them better. And I'm optimistic that someday that'll continue to move on in the right direction. Always optimistic, Ormie. Always.
You always have been.
Have to be.
Always have been, T.
Thank you.
Now, you've received several honors. Could you share some of those with us? I know the Hall of Fame, for one, was
Yes, sir.
2010. You
Yep,
were put into the
yep.
Auburn High Hall of Fame. You should have
Yeah.
done it even sooner than that, but
Well,
Yeah.
that was a great
You are,
honor.
so
That was
that's
a
a
great
good thing,
honor.
yeah.
You know, and even to be considered for it, and
right.
eventually to be inducted was a great honor.
Yep.
And I share that with my family
I agree.
the most. You know,
Yeah.
that's where all this is. None of this. The awards are great.
Right.
You know, they're pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
I should say they're pretty good.
Very good, yeah.
But with the family and the friends and the teammates, you know, I think that's probably been the greatest
The important
impact
part.
on my life. You
Yeah,
know,
it's the
and, you know,
important part,
I don't
absolutely.
have any other explanation.
Yeah.
You get the opportunity to coach in this town.
Yeah.
That's an honor.
Yes, it
That's
is.
an honor that,
And
you know,
it's
the
all-
hardware is great. The rings are great if you get the opportunity to achieve and earn one of them. Earn it, and I mean earn it. And it feels good to earn those types of things. But the things that that pop the top of my head are talking to guys like you, your son, Jeff, those relationships. You know, my friends Scott Stevens and Johnny Cool,
Right.
Billy Tarby, the list goes on.
You never forget.
You know, I love it. You know, my family's impact on my life is tremendous to this day, and yeah, those are the things. Those are the honors that I cherish the most. You know,
Wonderful.
I don't do a lot of the picture thing and put those types
Right.
of things up. I'm proud of some things because of the people that I was involved with. I
Right.
played team sports.
Right.
I have nothing
Great word.
without
Team.
team.
Team is great.
I have nothing to, I couldn't have played without your
Right.
son
Right.
and all my teammates, and hopefully vice versa. And
Right.
it's great to hear the words that you have an impact
Right.
as a friend and a teammate on somebody else's life, and that's honorable.
Oh, great.
That's honorable.
Well, we've talked about a lot. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us? Or?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, please do.
First, I get the opportunity here to,
Uh-huh.
thank my parents, and,
Right.
and it's a great thing, and this is an avenue in which to do that. I
Absolutely.
never do
Go
it
for
enough.
it.
I never do it enough, and I love them, and I thank them for everything.
TJ, I'll tell you, this has been a real honor for us to have you on this program. You've added
Thanks,
a lot
Ron.
to the sports of Auburn and the history of Auburn, and I truly appreciate you taking the time and effort.
Thanks.
I'm glad they let you out of prison today, though, to come up here.
Yes, sir.
I know you got to go back in the slammer, but I'm sure they're going to let you out.
Yeah, hopefully they'll let me for about until I'm
Can't thank you
55
enough,
years old.
buddy.
Before we finish, though,
All right,
I'd like to
you go right
pay
ahead.
tribute to you and thank you.
Do I owe you money?
No, sir.
Oh, okay, all right.
You do not.
Okay.
You've done a lot for our community,
Oh.
and I appreciate it, and you're a big sportsman, and this is a book that I often gave away as a gift to our graduating
I
seniors.
have nothing but respect for that man. I
John
never had a
Wooden.
copy of his book.
This is the little blue book that a lot of the coaches would
Was there
refer
anybody
to.
that ever had more knowledge about
He's the man.
sports in the right way than John Wooden? I don't
No.
think there was. No.
Fortunately, I had a chance to play for a couple guys that come close to carrying his character and value.
Isn't he something? He's
Yeah,
absolutely
but this
something.
is a great read, and it's a go-to book of mine, and this, I think you'll enjoy it, but more,
will.
I would like to
Well, thank you.
gift this to you, and thank you for everything that you do, not only for having me here, to
Thank you
give
so
me a
very
chance to
much.
thank my parents, my family, my friends, my teammates, and
It's my pleasure.
shoot the hay a little bit about the way things are here athletically
you.
and everything, but I'd like to give this to you, and I hope you enjoy it.
I
And-
gotta tell
and
you
the-
about
And the
it.
inscription that I wrote was, to the ultimate legend, thanks for all you do.
Well, thank you so much.
And you
Appreciate
deserve it, and that's an
It's
understatement.
amazing, but I always used to get blisters when I played sports, and he was on TV one day, and he got talking about if you wear 2 pair of athletic socks, the friction or something.
Oh.
I took his information, and even to this day, I wear 2 pair of socks. I've never had a blister since then, so
You'll
God
read-
was a genius. So.
Real quick, you'll read the story about the freshman that had come in, and he would show them how to roll their socks up, and they had the Converse sneakers back then.
Right.
At the time of the story, and the story goes that he would teach them to roll the socks up and put the seams where they wouldn't get a blister, because if you have a blister, you're not at your ultimate peak performance.
Right.
And he would practice on the left foot, and after about a half an hour, he'd ask everybody if they had it down pat and inspect it, and everybody said yes, and then he said, okay, we're going to do the right foot now. Great story. And one of his greatest quotes, or sayings, was that good enough is the enemy of great, and I often refer to that, not only as a player, but
Right.
it was something that I referred often
Great
to
language.
the children,
Yeah.
the guys that I coached,
All right.
to the kids when we're coaching.
Well, I would
so-
cherish this book. I
Yeah, it's a
appreciate
great
that very
read,
much.
and it's a
Thank
little
you.
gift and a little, hopefully,
Thank you very, very much. Yeah.
I enjoyed being here
I enjoyed having
with you, and
Absolutely.
thank you very much. I appreciate everything, and all the kind words, too kind.
No, they weren't too kind.
Thank
Like I
you.
say, I got you out of prison, but other than that, I
Yes,
can't
sir,
do no more than
appreciate
that.
that too.
Oh, thank
I
you.
appreciate everything.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
It's been lovely, thank you.